Every once in a while, the Trout gets to talk to someone whose guitar work you've definitely heard, even if you didn't know it at the time. This time, the Trout had the pleasure of sitting down with Rob McNelley, a musician whose resume reads like a Hall of Fame lineup. A three-time Academy of Country Music Guitarist of the Year, Rob has played with legends, shaped the sound of countless records, and now, he's stepping out with a new single of his own, titled Gone. In his conversation, Rob opened up about life in the studio, what it's like being the guy behind the guitar on some of Nashville's biggest hits, and what inspired him to write and release Gone. He's got stories, soul, and that unmistakable tone. Now here's the Trout with very talented Rob McNelley.
You're a successful studio musician and you're always asked to perform with a lot of different people, and you have recorded with a lot of people, famous people.
Yeah.
And I know you've done your own stuff before, but is that something that kind of gnaws at you that you want to do your own music and let people hear it, like Gone, the song you just released?
Yeah. Well, I do want a lot of people to hear it, but it doesn't, I wouldn't describe it like that way so much. I understand what the reality of that is. I'm known for something else. But this is something else that I do, and I've gotten to the point just because of my main session career. I know how to make recordings, and I can be self-sufficient, and it only costs me the people that I hire. I have my own studio, and I can do
Right.
it. And I like to write. So to me, it's all about the being an artist on the side, even if it's just for a few select people that end up hearing. I don't know, even if nobody really hears it, that's not the point. The point is it enriches everything I take back into the
Sure.
studio. I get the experience of being the artist and handing this off to other musicians and letting them have input on my vision. It teaches me things about how to be a better session musician. That's one aspect of it. But I mean, this stuff just comes out of me, and what do you do with it? After it all stacks up, you want to put it out. You want to record it. You want to share it somehow. I don't know where it'll end up, if anywhere. So it just kind of, you know,
Well, and
see,
you have access to some great musicians.
yeah, yeah. Well, that,
So, the problem you have is like all of us that have a studio to a certain degree. And if you're a songwriter, you get the itch, you go down and record.
yeah, yeah.
I come in here, this is where everything I do,
Hmm.
and my wife will leave and she'll come back. What have you been working on? And like I said, well, I've been working on one song now for about 8 hours.
Yeah,
And so it gets you. But the other thing about you though is, and I thought about this before, is you have all the contacts that most people like me would die to know. So
yeah, sure.
you literally could just take it and go, what do you think, guys? All right, Rob, we'll put this out and try it, everything. But I have a feeling that you don't do that. I think you just put it out and say, hey, let the ether take it if people like it. I mean,
Yeah,
am I right about that?
yeah. Well, I mean, yes. I try to be respectful of the people I worked with that are inundated with people wanting something from them,
Sure.
constantly playing them their music, and
Yeah.
I mean I don't make this music so much for my peers because uh we're all making music, and even if a lot of them do check it out. I'm surprised now that I've been doing this a while and more consistently in the last year or year and a half, whatever. People are starting to take notice when I put something out, my friends, that I work with,
Hmm.
and they go and check it out now. But realistically, that listener isn't looking all the time for, you know, new jams, you know. That
No, and they're listening to it differently than an average person would listen to it.
Exactly. They're going to listen to it once and be like, "Wow." They're going to think things like, even if they like the song, they'll be like, "Wow, how'd you get that snare sound?" Or how'd you get that?
Well, I was listening to it and I was listening to it and I go, that's got a lot of full sound to it. I like all that mix in there. It kind of starts out this
Yeah,
way and then goes, like that.
yeah,
But the thing about it is, it's kind of like they already know who you are.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's almost like the one thing I had when I was playing all the time, and I now I do just instrumentals because my voice isn't as good as it used to be, is people would always hear me singing and go, "Who's that singing?"
Yeah, yeah, that happens every time I put.
Do you have the same thing? And they're like, "It's
Yes.
it's me." Oh no, it's not. And they
Yeah.
argue with you, like, "No, okay, I wasn't standing in front of the microphone doing this. No, I
Yeah.
was. I when I released my CD and my album in '94, I was with some friends of mine in a car. Actually, they were clients of mine. I was doing something else, and they go, "That's a really good tune. Who's singing?"
Yeah.
Me? No, it's not you. And they go, "Sing." I had to sing with my song
Yeah.
and they go, "Oh my God, it is you."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people are surprised to find out that I sing still, even though I've been playing in
Oh yeah.
Nashville. I lived here singing in front of my bands, doing my music, in various clubs or whatever. Hey man, that's I understand that because a lot of the people I work with are so inundated every day they can't keep up and remember everything that
Yeah.
But now people do know that about me more. I mean, I kind of never thought about any of that, and I still don't even know what to think about when people are surprised that I sing because I've always sang. That's
Well, and also is the thing that because you've played on so many different musicians, I think I know I'm this way. They expect a certain sound out of you. And it's almost like when I used to ask musicians what was on their playlist just to see what they played.
yeah,
Listen to, I mean, it
yeah,
was never anything like they played.
yeah,
So it's almost like you're known for all these Nashville artists and all this stuff, and then you start rocking out or doing, there's like what, and you're like, wait a minute, I wasn't expecting that. Well, no, because this is me. This isn't them.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the curse of getting famous for something. Or I use the word famous very lightly here. I'm saying what you get known for in anything in life. Humans, they think, okay, I got you categorized. Move on.
Yeah,
Everybody fits into this what I know them as, and
yeah.
yeah, really, it's that's one aspect of putting out your own music when you're a sideman that's really gratifying is just kind of we don't get to share ourselves as uh, individuals in the places
Mm.
we are seen. So you have to push that if you want people to see a deeper you. So I don't know, man. Maybe people are finding that out and accepting a broader palette of things that I do or whatever. I don't know.
It's like and I was in the Muscle shows a couple years ago. It's like the
Mhm.
Swampers.
Yeah,
They can't tell you a song that they wrote. Oh, you
right.
played on that one? Oh, yeah, that's me playing the piano on that one. Oh, that's you.
Yeah.
And if they said, "Well, I have my own song," people would go, "Yeah, whatever." Okay, play that Paul Simon intro. So
Yeah.
so it's that. But the thing is, I don't think people realize too that sometimes, especially what you do, you have to get your own creativity out. I mean, you have it obviously when you perform with people, but you're still within the niche of what they want you to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this allows you because I have to admit I was kind of shocked, but I was like, oh, that's different than what I thought. I mean, but that's what you kind of want.
You're talking about this new song?
Yeah,
Yeah.
gone. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it is, that's funny. I've lived with it long enough next to all the other things that have come out or still haven't come
Oh
out
yeah.
that I didn't I'm now reminded once I put it out how different this one is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's the reaction. And incidentally, I people are reacting more to this song than some of the other ones that I've put out. And now because of this one, they're listening more to, if they pull me up on any of the platforms, they just hit play. And
Mm.
I'm noticing people are starting to hear some of the other things that I've put out and kind of going, oh man, it's funny. I heard this when it came out one time. And now that I'm hearing more of these songs, there's actually like I can just push play and all these songs kind of playing. It's like I'm starting to notice a lot of things about you, your musical tastes and kind of where you come from. And the good thing is I'm not a label. I'm not creating a brand. It's just
No,
me.
it's
It's
just
just
you.
me. I don't have deadlines. I don't have to worry about budgets. I don't have to worry about algorithms so much. And so in some ways, even if it's just on a very small level, the numbers I do are not what you would expect from somebody that doesn't really actively find ways to promote themselves. It's all just based on what people know me as and having just enough of an interest to go listen to a song. But it is does seem like it grows each song I put out. People are engaging. So that's all I care about.
And you're right because it's like my wife. I'll say something to her about, well, I got to go do an edit or I got to go interview, and she goes, "Why do you have a timetable? Who cares? It's your deal."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I try to keep, and speaking of algorithms, I'm getting ready to put a video out that says nobody knows how they work because it's like I see all these videos of people saying, "Oh, who do this and do that," and it's like, yeah, you do it all, and it's still the same thing. But
Yeah.
you're right because I always had the philosophy, and I've gotten better at recording, and I know that. Um, if I bring out an album with 10 songs and people like one song, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And the other thing about it is too, and I bet you've realized this too over the course of years you've been doing this, is how what people think it sounds like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like because when you're doing it, you're just writing a song,
Yeah.
okay? And you don't really think about, okay, I'm going to make, when you start putting it down and laying the track, sure, you're going to add this in there and all that stuff. But you don't sit down and go, I think I'm going to write a song about that's a blues based or it's this based. You just do a song.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And then
right.
when people start listening to it, they go, well, that reminds me of, and you're like, really?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember any off the top of my head, but yeah, you hear these funny comparisons that you're like, wow,
I did.
it's always like, yeah, people think, this should be in a movie or a TV show. This would be great on you know, whatever. And it's kind of like, well, you know, yeah, maybe I don't.
If somebody
Yeah.
calls me, okay,
Go play it for him, Haas. Go
yeah,
go
because I don't
go
write.
go make me some money.
That's right. Because, I don't bring records to it, and Spotify ain't paying nobody. So,
Yeah,
unless you're,
but yeah, the people are just trying to like, oh, hey, what they're really saying is, this sounds like this other successful thing that I know about.
oh yeah, yeah, you're right.
And I mean, that's nice. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, everybody has their ideas about all this stuff. And I just,
Well, that's what makes music so interesting.
yeah, we're at
It,
least talking to each other about a piece of music. That's,
yeah, I mean, and the fact that you did this tune, and like you said, I just saw it, you put it out. I follow you on Instagram. Excuse
hmm,
me, other stuff. And I thought, what the hell? Let's listen to it.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Because there's something, well, it's kind of like a movie.
yeah,
You go to a movie and it sucks. Who do you remember? The people that starred in it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't remember the producer, the director,
yeah,
the screenwriter. You remember those people.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you don't remember. So in your business, you can name off these famous people that everybody knows in that genre, and they go, "Yeah, that's cool," you
yeah,
know. But if their song sucks, they don't come back to you and say, "Yeah, Rob sucked on that song." No,
right.
the overall song, because you're a hired gun to do it. So do you ever get asked in your business, I assume you do to a certain degree, to go on tour with some artists?
Yeah, I have. And I mean, like when I went out with Seeger, that's kind of
Yeah.
how it comes about. I mean, yeah. Like there have been a handful of artists at different times, like you play on their record, and then they just really liked what happened, and they asked, would you ever consider coming out and touring, on this record or whatever? And it just takes a lot to arrive at a point from a business standpoint where I can truly, and a personal standpoint where it integrates nicely into my life. And road work is tough work, man.
It is.
I did it for so many years, and I'd probably still be doing it if nobody asked me to do a session ever. But once I started getting popular in Nashville as a session player and didn't have to go out on the road, um, it, it 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 it's nice to be able to stay here and just be creative all the time. I mean, it's the best of both worlds. You're playing guitar, but you're on the creative side of it. You're coming up with the parts, not learning the parts that someone else played, and sleeping on a bus, and you're dealing with all the things that come out of nowhere when you're on the road that are situations, you know.
I dreamed of that when I was a kid, when I was
Yeah.
18. I thought, well, I need to go, and then my mind would never even wrap around then of getting on a bus with four guys, traveling around. No, back then it would have been on a van with all your equipment in the back of the van, going from bar to bar, and eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and praying to God that somebody A&R person comes by and hears you and you become this person. But
Yeah.
it doesn't change. You just get in a bigger bus, a nicer hotel. You know, you're doing
Yeah.
the same thing, you're just getting paid more money. I like staying home. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, uh yeah, it just depends on what you're doing out there. For me, first and foremost, I would have to be somewhat engaged in the music. Like like when I was younger, you were just trying to find the next tour to get on or the next gig to get because you literally needed the money. And
Yeah.
and the music kind of came second, you know.
Yep.
Uh and now I'm in this place where like, if somebody like I'm at a place where most of the offers that might come in towards me, they already understand that they're gonna have to make it financially even a tempting offer to eclipse what I can make in town,
Yeah.
staying here doing what I'm doing. So people come to the table knowing that it's going to cost money, and or more money than somebody new to town, I should say. Um, but it doesn't just take that to get me to, because I get to be, like I said, creative, and
Yeah.
you've got to protect that. I don't want to end up out on a gig just for the money.
No.
I want all the conditions to be right. I've become a creature of habit. I look,
Trust me, I know.
I mean, and we all should get there. That shouldn't be a bad thing.
No.
That's what the
No.
goal should be. Like you
Yeah.
should be able to say, yeah, no, I'm gonna need my, like, things like, that you take for granted. People don't understand, like, even big acts don't always get their band guys their own hotel room
No.
or something. And that's like, look, I've been on the bus. Let's just say I've been on a bus with these people for the past 10 hours, and we get to a city. I need to go somewhere by myself. I love everybody here, but things like that
Yeah. Yeah.
that you need to recharge yourself with. And you get older and you do enough gigs where you get out there and you learn, oh, I forgot to ask these questions up front when I took the gig, and you
Yeah.
find out, like, oh, what we're really doing as opposed to what we think we're going to do.
But in your business, though, here you have made yourself a name that you're kind of in the rocking chair now. I mean, because you got yourself a name, you're a good player, people call you. Musicians would probably kill for the position you're in. But how
Yeah.
many years did it take you to get there? That's the point.
Well, yeah, it's funny. I mean, yeah, I don't know if there is uh, I can't tell because there's a lot of years, and it's a lot of little steps and things that feel like they're leading to nowhere that all of a sudden, like, become the very things that ushered you into a place where so and so saw you or whatever. Uh, Yeah, I don't know, man. It took a long time, but the thing is, you don't feel like you're there ever.
No.
Like there's never a moment where I feel like, ah, finally, finally made it, you know. I don't I've never had that feeling. And that sounds crazy to people that haven't done some of the things I've been lucky enough to do. But it's very true. I mean, you know, I don't know how to describe it. You still there's still challenges. Like people I'm probably jealous of, like maybe like or not jealous of or like, you know, like I look at someone like Derek Trucks with Tedeschi Trucks
Oh
Band.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, what a dream that life must be.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
But, you know, if I talk to him about the nuts and bolts of any of that, or, you know, it's like, oh, you guys get to, man, those guys definitely on a daily basis probably have things coming at them all the time, fires they got to put out. By the time they're even going on stage, most days might have felt like, Jesus Christ, I just want to go home and sit down, you know, too, you know, and
It's a blessing and a curse, let's face it.
yeah, nothing. Yeah, I mean, so I think it's all about, you know, what fire is still burning inside of you. You have to do things that keep that feed that fire because if you just start doing things because oh, I want to be like X person or it'd be so cool if I had their life, you know, or in some way that man, you're gonna torture yourself because you're just always going to be comparing what you're doing to something else that you know might not really fit that nicely into your life or your situation, you know.
People like you really have the best of both worlds. You get to perform with some of the great artists out there. You sit in the creative area where you watch them put things together. And to you, when you're sitting there recording with them, and then 6 months or a year later, the song that you recorded is hitting, you're saying it's going well, and you're like, oh yeah, that's great. So
Yeah.
it probably keeps you moving too.
Yeah, absolutely. Both because, you know, when a song that you played on does well, people associate in the people that are in the know in the circles around here, they recognize who played on those things, and then it makes you seem more trustworthy to hire, or that maybe you know something that you can bring to the table that helps them get their goals to happen. Yeah, so you know, yeah, I mean, but when I realized that so many people are responding to it, there are certain songs that come along. I mean, there's songs coming out all the time that we all play on. So there's a ton of them, but there are those 4 or 5 songs a year that come out that everybody notices something you did on,
Mm,
you know, and so that's nice. I mean, that's like, you know, you feel like a contribution that you made
hmm.
becomes part of that song's success.
Oh yeah, you do. Obviously, you're on it. So
Yeah,
there's something to that. Sure.
it's like take like the old song "My Girl," that guitar opening hook,
Yeah.
doom, doo, 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 doo,
In the
right?
KC.
And any qualified session musician could have been on that session that day and
Yeah.
played something else that wasn't even that, but would have been just as iconic and cool. You know, it's not like I did something that no one else can do and nobody else knows. But but uh but I was, you know, if you're the person that was there and you just had this amazing hook come across your plate for this song
Yeah.
and you had the right sound and the right feel that really made this track better than it was 10 minutes ago. It's cool when people hear it and they feel the same way you felt about it when you played it, you know. That's really awesome actually.
Oh, I want to ask you about your recording process.
Okay.
You've been in a lot of studios in your life. Have you learned from that? I mean, obviously you're doing your own thing, and did you when you start, we all start from A, sitting
Mhm.
at the board watching other people mix. Did that help you, or how have you been able to increase your knowledge as you start recording? Because you're doing your own thing, you have to compete with people that are in big studios. how did you get your knowledge from running your recording sessions yourself?
Okay, well, it's funny. Well, first of all, I rely on people I trust to help me with that
Okay.
because, like, even just something simple as like when I got this house and this space could be used as I dreamed that this basement would become a full studio.
Hmm.
Before I bought the house or before I, really dove deep into an investment on that, I invited a couple engineer friends of mine over
Huh.
here to get some ideas about what would you do if this were your space? Do you see problems here? Are there things I should be thinking about that I don't know that someone like you would know? And they all thought it was a cool space and had very much the same ideas about how to treat the space and what to do. And a lot of it is you know, uh, like you can see back here all those acoustic
Yeah, I
panels,
see them on the walls. Yeah.
and even over here in between all this artwork, it's like um, things I don't know about. Those are not like fun things to do or invest in. They're not as fun as buying
Hmm.
a cool piece of gear.
No.
But if you're gonna make something happen, a lot of times it's just about the little shit like that. Like
Yeah.
like just figuring out how to deaden down the room so what you're hearing is actually what it will sound like outside of the space too. It's you're not being fooled by things that are happening here that don't happen out in the world. So as far as and then it's a matter of like what's your budget for gear? I mean,
Yeah.
people make great sounding recordings on very primitive gear. You can do it that way. You can, but if you have money and you want to spend more and trick it out a little bit more, you can go that route. But it really, uh, as much as you can learn, you also have to be willing. The thing you have to learn is what is to be able to throw it all out of out the window and just make something you fully believe in that sounds the way
You
it
wanted to sound.
that you want it to sound,
Yeah.
or even if you can't get it to sound like you want it to sound, does it sound like something that other people will feel an emotion of when they hear it? Like man, I mean, we all put out things that we're like you hear a year later and you're like, oh God, I wish I would have done this with that sound or whatever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, even
No.
the Beatles probably hate some of their earlier recordings when they hear them, but to the rest of the world,
It sounds
they
good.
captured an emotion. They captured
Yeah.
something that made you feel something. And
Yeah.
the longer I do this, it's less about any of the technical stuff as it is, what do I feel when I hear it? Do I like it, mistakes and all? Because if I do,
Hmm.
then someone else will too. And because I think every artist, if you're going to work on a song, you have to get behind it or it's not going to be anything. So you probably at some level think any of them are hits.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think that. You have
Yeah.
to fool yourself into thinking that even if you put it out like Revolution number 9. I
Oh
mean, I'm
yeah.
sure that he worked on that as hard as he did any of the Strawberry Fields or any of the
Yeah.
other songs that were
Yeah.
bigger, massive hits, then that song might be if there's an album track that most people, casual fans, will skip over. It's probably that one, in their catalog. But I mean, they worked on. He believed in it and worked on it, and I mean, those guys were in a place, and I think the Stones are similar. Like they probably have had hits that they never thought they would have.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
how
sure.
abundant their creativity is. Like we put all this energy into this song that end up just being a deep cut for the real Uber fans, and the song that we recorded in like an
Five
hour,
minutes.
and wrote in 20 minutes
Yeah.
is one that we play for the rest of our lives. Okay, that's like this current song that I have, Gone.
Yeah.
Dude, I
How long did you work on that tune?
Uh, not long at all. I mean,
Okay.
like we all have these things. Like we record. Like I'm sure you're this way. Most people are that do this. You have an idea,
Yep.
and you put it in your phone. You just
Yep.
kind of record it in the voice memo or whatever. Well, I have, I mean, years and years of that stuff
Sure.
on my phone, so it's impossible. Like I can scroll forever, and so I had to come up with naming things in a creative way that described the idea somehow or something. So this was something that I recorded apparently one morning. Uh, the whole musical idea, I was kind of fiddling around with that verse part. So now your listeners will have to go listen to it to know what I'm talking about. This is great. So,
Oh,
so
that'll
that
be great because
verse
I'm going to put
part,
it on here. Yeah.
yeah. That verse part, very kind of intricate little idea there, and you know, and I thought, well, that's cool. I should put that in my phone. Well, I probably I recorded that, and sometimes while I'm recording that, the rest of the song musically will fall out. Well,
Yeah.
I had this recording sitting on my phone for over a year that I had completely forgotten about. And and on another morning about a year later, I had recorded something else into my phone, and I was working with an artist that I was potentially going to produce.
Mm.
So I thought, oh, this would be a great idea for them. Well, I named it whatever I named it. And later that night when I got home, I said, yeah, I need to revisit that idea because I should send that over to them so they can hear it and see if they can write to it or something. And the title, you know how when you start typing something in and all these things that are close to it pop up. Well, whatever I named this, the idea that became gone in my phone was similar enough to what I did that morning, and it popped up as the top thing, and I was half paying attention, so I just, oh, that must be it. I clicked on it, and this whole other song came on, and it was the entire song as you hear it now. Like I all I and it jogged my memory. I was like, oh yeah, I remember doing this. I don't even remember how I played that. I'm gonna have to relearn this
Yeah.
because this kind of was a
I've done
moment.
that too. I've done
It was,
that.
yeah, it was just like a moment of like, oh, this entire musical song came out, and then even by the end of it, I was singing the melody that became the So like this thing was fully formed. Went into my phone, forgot about it for a year. Probably would have never found it had this other thing that pushed it up
Wow.
top of. So all very, and I never sent that other idea to that other artist. I got to work on this thing. This thing that was never going to probably make me a dime, it just cost me money, to record, but I was so fueled by the creative energy I
Oh,
was hearing.
sure.
Like I sat down and I like wrote it. Like I didn't let myself leave this alone until I completely wrote it. So I wrote the lyrics and
Because
it,
it's like it's got like two parts in it.
that's
I mean,
all it is. Two
yeah. I mean,
parts.
it's got the verse in it, and then the chorus is completely different than the rest of the song.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it flows obviously, you know that, but I mean,
yeah,
it's like I was listening to it and going, "Oh, this is cool" at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's this different part, and I'm
yeah.
going like, "Yeah, I been there, done that." I mean, the thing
Yeah,
about it is, so here you go. Here's a song that you put out,
yeah,
whatever, years later, or at least a year later, that you had on your phone for how
yeah,
long? For a year,
yeah,
and all of a sudden you go, "Wait a minute," and then your brain kicks in and goes, "Oh, I can do something with it." And then what you want to do to the world is get out of my way. I'm doing it.
yeah,
I don't need a phone call. I don't need nothing. I just got to get down there and put something in. I got to start doing it.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, I basically booked my engineer that co-produced it with me, Justin Francis, and I booked the bass player and drummer and keyboard player, and we recorded that along with maybe a couple other things. Like usually I don't involve those guys until I've got two or three things because once they're here,
Sure. Yeah.
we can work a day and knock out
Yeah.
3 or 4 songs. So
What do you got coming up? Anything got coming up with anybody new coming in? I mean, people you're working with? You
yeah,
just you were saying a while ago, I don't know what's tomorrow, but I mean, what do you got coming up? Anything you could
oh
tell me? I'm not
man,
going to play it, but I'm just curious.
yeah, I think there's this. I just finished this record for this new artist. Well, she's not new in Nashville, but she's new to the world probably. Carter Faith.
Okay.
Man, this record. I think there's a new single coming out in a few weeks or whatever. Man, she's cool. She's a real artist.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, thank you, Rick.
Waiting, wish that I could stop this craving. Waiting, debating how much more I've got to spend. It's changing, rearranging, feelings in a heart that's fading. Hesitating, creating too much noise in my head. Shower me with words that make me go crazy, just waiting